A very warm welcome to the special mapping series for the preliminary exam 2025. At the onset of this series, let me highlight this fact again that watching the previous mapping series is equally important because they contain very important entries that are still to be asked in the exam, and it is very likely that you will expect many questions from the previous series in this year's preliminary exam as well. Now let's begin with this year's mapping series. We are all aware that the ongoing wars have a focus on the Arctic region as well, because right now there is a big geopolitical and economical overhaul going on in the world right now, and the melting Arctic is paving way for new trade routes to emerge, and moreover the Arctic region is full of untapped resources as well. For example, in the Arctic area, we contain more than 13% of our undiscovered oil reserves and more than 30% of our natural gas, along with multiple rare earth elements. There is a reason why the world is going crazy about the Arctic, right? So it is very important to understand the important trade routes that are important in the Arctic. There are basically 4 trade routes in the Arctic. Let's go through all of them. Besides the wars, these trade routes were in the news because for the very first time, the 2 main trade routes across the Arctic were almost free of ice for most part of the year. In order to understand all of this thing, it is very crucial to understand that there are 2 types of ships that we use in the Arctics. The one is the regular type of ship and the second one is called an icebreaker. Normally, the red colored lines that you see mark the routes where only icebreakers could pass through the Arctic. Why? Because to pass through thick layers of ice of the frozen Arctic surface, you need bigger ships which have the capability to break the surface ice. But given the rate of melting of ice, it is expected that very soon most of the Arctic is going to be almost free of ice, and regular ships will be able to pass even right through the center of the Arctic. In order to understand the trade routes in detail, let me highlight those 4 trade routes. First of all, let me name them. The trade route passing through the north of North America is called the Northwest Passage. All of these directions are from the point of view of the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, Northwest Passage, Northeast Passage. Northeast Passage lies to the north of Europe and Asia. Most of the Northeast Passage overlaps with the Northern Sea route as well. And the 4th one is the future Trans-Arctic shipping lane. Let's talk about all of these 4 in detail. Now in this map, I have added the main terminals that are associated with these trade routes, but let's talk about all of them one by one. First is the Northeast Passage, right? The Northeast Passage is this trade route shown in red, right? It is crossing the Arctic via north of Europe and Asia, and it includes most of the Northern Sea route as well, right? It follows the Russian and Norwegian coastlines across the Eurasian part of Arctic, and it encompasses within itself the Northern Sea route as well, right? The Northeast Passage, it encompasses within itself the Barents Sea, right? This is the Barents Sea over here, just north of the Kola Peninsula of Russia, right? And it provides access to Murmansk. Again, it is a place in the Kola Peninsula territory of Russia, right? And this passage benefits from relatively lower overall ice extent. Why? Because it is part of the extension of the warm waters, right? Warm waters of the Gulf Stream enter the North Atlantic as the North Atlantic drift, and those warmer waters reach northern part of Europe as well, and therefore they receive lesser ice, right? This is not passing through the core of the Arctic, and therefore these warmer waters allow lesser ice as well. Definitely this is going to be a major and relatively free of ice route, right? right? It is easier to navigate than the other routes, right? Now the second one is the Northern Sea Route, right? Most of the Northeast Passage overlaps with the Northern Sea Route, right? The route shown in red is the Northeast Passage, and the one shown in pink over here is the Northern Sea Route, right? It is closer to the Siberian coast, right? Constituting majority of the Northeast Passage, the Northern Sea Route trails the Russian coast from the Bering Strait to the Kara Sea, and Russia maintains strict control over it, and it imposes a high amount of fees for any country aiming to pass cargo through this area, and multiple ports are being developed by Russia along this route as well. Now coming to the third important trade route in the Arctic is the northwestern passage, which you can say passes through the northern part of North America, right? The northern coast of North America, passing through the Canadian Arctic archipelago and Alaska. Why are these routes important? You must have heard Donald Trump saying that Canada and Greenland will be declared as the new states of USA. USA is very keen to acquire these areas. Why? Because of these trade routes themselves. Which is why the Panama is also important. I'll be talking about all of them in this part only, right? So it is very important and relevant geopolitically as well, right? Navigation through the Northwest Passage, north of Canada, is more difficult. Like I told you, there is no warm ocean current over here. Therefore, navigation through this part is challenging because of complex, you can say, coastlines, straits, narrow passages, and it is not free of ice that much as well, right? It contains more obstructions. Moreover, the legal status of this passage is disputed. Canada claims that it is part of their internal waters, whereas USA insists that it is part of an international boundary, and USA is trying to do its best. We have all seen the geopolitical concerns right now, that why USA is so, you can say, pushing Canada for all of this. This is the main thing, right? It is anticipated that most of the central part of the Arctic will get ice free by 2030, 2040. And once that central part of the Arctic becomes ice free, the new trade route via the core of the Arctic will become open. And that is called the Trans-Arctic Shipping Route. That is the fourth one, the Trans-Arctic Shipping Route, sea route, right? It is a potential sea route which will pass directly via the North Pole, right? And it is going to be the most direct route, and believe it or not, people are waiting for it to melt, right? Because newer trade routes, shorter trade routes, and you will have all of those abundantly available resources available for exploitation as well on the sea floor of the Arctic, right? So once you have that idea about why USA is so bound behind Canada, why is it just doing its best to acquire parts of Canada and pushing Canada to such limits, it is important to understand the geopolitical situation of Greenland as well, and which is why it has been in the news. Therefore, the geographical features around Greenland also become very important, right? Starting with the water bodies, right? Between the Baffin Island of Canada and Greenland lies the Davis Strait. Then we have the Baffin Bay. Between the Ellesmere Island of Canada and Greenland, northern part of Greenland, lies the Nares Strait. It is a very important shipping route and a probable mapping entry. To the north of Greenland, we have the Lincoln Sea. Between Spitsbergen and Greenland, we have the Fram Strait. I have not counted this in this year's mapping entry because this entry has been included in the mapping series of 2023 as well, and I have talked about in detail regarding the Fram Strait over there. As always, you will be watching it again. Nevertheless, I'm mentioning it over here as well, right? But the details are given in the 2023 mapping series, right, along with the Indian and Norwegian scientists' expedition. Towards the east of Greenland, we have the Greenland Sea, and between Iceland and Greenland lies the Denmark Strait. All of these water bodies become very crucial because they are the new potential trade routes and a probable question for a mapping question in the preliminary exam as well. Right, moving on to the next entry in the Arctic lies right at the North Pole, that is the Lomonosov Ridge. Canada, Denmark and Russia, they claim territory over the Lomonosov Ridge. This is that mid-oceanic ridge which passes almost directly over the North Pole. It is surrounded by the Alpha Ridge and the Gackel Ridge, right? There is a territorial dispute on the Lomonosov Ridge, which is why it was in the news as well, right? Since we are talking about the North Pole, the geographic North Pole, a reference needs to be made to the magnetic pole as well, because as we are all aware, the magnetic pole has been behaving very weirdly and it is shifting rapidly towards Siberia. And right now, in this year, in the last year, it was very close to the geographic North Pole as well, which is why I'm just mentioning this fact over here, that right now the magnetic pole of the earth is also very close to the geographic pole as well, and it is heading directly towards Siberia, right? Talking about the Arctic, it is very important to mention a part of China's Belt and Road Initiative that passes through the Arctic, that is China's Polar Silk Road. Although it was not directly in the news this year, but it becomes important right now because of all of these trade routes, right? Although China is not an Arctic nation, it has declared itself as a near Arctic state. In 2018, China published its first Arctic policy white paper and it proposed a polar Silk Road. It is very crucial for China to develop this. Why? Because 80% of all of its oil passes through the crucial Malacca Strait. And given the present geopolitical situation, China cannot just place all its eggs in one basket. Therefore, it is very keen and aligning with Russia to work on this polar Arctic Silk Route, right? And once it develops this polar route, this polar Silk Road, it is going to cut the distance between China and European nations by approximately 40%. And for that, it is linking its economy with Russia, and it is investing heavily in energy and resource projects in Russia. China is right now the #1 manufacturer of naval vessels as well. It is also investing heavily in nuclear powered icebreakers. Right now, Russia is the #1 country in the world with the maximum icebreakers. Therefore, the dominant power in the Arctic right now is Russia. Anyway, now since we are talking about alternate trade routes in this first part of the mapping series, pay attention, right? The entire world is going an overall in the, you can say, balance of power, right? The American empire is collapsing and China is trying to take in its place. USA is trying to gain control over the trade routes of the Arctic, like just discussed. Similarly, it is eyeing its trade routes in the Central American region as well, because slowly and steadily China has been acquiring stake in the alternate routes of the Panama Canal, which is why the Panama Canal and the alternate routes of the Panama Canal via the Central American region become important, right? Now, Panama Canal is a canal, but the alternate routes developed by neighboring countries are dry canal projects. What do you mean by dry canals? They're basically railways or expressways, right? Two of them are most important, right? The first one is passing via Mexico. The second one is passing via Colombia. Let's talk about both of them in a little detail, right? The first one is the Mexican Interoceanic Corridor, reviving the Tehuantepec route, right? This is the route #1 shown over here, right? Heavy investment by Mexico, and it is more than 300-kilometer long railway line, right? It connects both water bodies. And why is it important? Transfer across the Panama takes up to 10 hours, whereas the transit via Mexico will take only around 6 hours. And time is money, and therefore it is a very valuable alternative to the Panama Canal. and it is increasing its capacity of cargo by 2030 as well, right? It is attracting a lot of investments as well. Therefore, this alternate is very important. And the second most important alternate to the Panama Canal is the Colombian Dry Canal. It is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative as well. As you can clearly see, the Colombian route is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Therefore, China is trying to control the trade routes alternate to the Panama, which is why USA is antagonized because of all of this. We'll come to that shortly. Right, it is just around 200 kilometers long railway line connecting the Pacific to the Atlantic, right? It is part of the Belt and Road Initiative of China, and which is why China is investing heavily in Colombia as well. It will gain access to the resources available in Colombia as well, right? Now, since the dominance of USA was highly challenged because of this Chinese presence, recently the American giant BlackRock has acquired stake in ports in this area, and it has also, you can say, taken control of both terminals of the Panama Canal as well, right? Now, this is all for part 1 of the mapping series. Stay tuned for further parts. Thank you.